Welcome, everyone. It's 6:01. I'm not used to starting till 6:05. You got me 4 minutes ahead, Ruben. It's Monday night. You're listening to the 108th installment of the Age Out Angels Radio Hour on www.hamiltonradio.net, Channel 2. I'm your host, Greg Rapport. I'm the founder and executive director of Age Out Angels. We're a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. Age Out Angels provides one-to-one mentors to vulnerable youth for the purpose of coordinating the care and services that they need to survive. We try to help young people avoid some of the horrible pitfalls that they're likely to face if they don't have a proper safety net. And this program is brought to you every week at this same time, courtesy of Doc G, William Saunders, Ruben Rodriguez, and all the fine people here at Hamilton Radio who allow us to use this airtime. Ruben is on the big board tonight. Robin is producing, so good to have both of you here. And thank you so much at home for tuning in. We've put together what I hope you'll find to be an insightful and compelling view of the child welfare system and related issues that improve our communities. So get ready, because tonight on the Radio Hour, our guests are some very interesting people. Jodi Grinwald is probably not someone that you know at this point, but when you're done listening to her story, I know you're going to love her. She is bringing music and dance and art and everything back.
That's right.
And it went away, and that's so sad. Jodi, welcome to the Radio Hour.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Greg, for having me.
It's great to have you. And also, not just Jodi, there's more. Dave Nash and Mick Orff from Mercer County Technical Schools are here, and we're going to be talking about vocational training and where that leads in the lives of young people. It's certainly coming up a lot, and I'll tell you why it's coming up in just a few minutes. So stay with us for the whole hour tonight, and I promise you'll be just a little richer for having done so. And stay with Hamilton Radio all night long for a combination of great music and talk. The Monday night lineup is really starting to take shape. At 5 o'clock every Monday, it's Urban Economics and Development. Then we come in from 6 to 7, and after us, it's the Rome Show, talking sports for an hour. At 8 o'clock, I think it's every other Monday, so it might not be tonight, I'm not sure. It's Let's Talk with Kat and Bran. And somewhere around 9 o'clock, Freestyle Freaks come in. They are Freestyle Freaks, so you can't always count on them at a particular hour. But they'll be here tonight, so keep it right here at Hamilton Radio all night long for great talk and great music. Now, please take a moment, open a separate browser, and find us on Facebook. If you're not watching on Facebook right now, go to my name, Greg Rapport, and hit that share button, or even better, email your whole address book and tell everyone to go to www.hamiltonradio.net, Channel 2. Tell everyone in your world what we're talking about tonight, because what you're going to hear here applies to every geographic region, especially where you live. And what we talk about needs to be shared. It's not being discussed in mainstream media, and so we need to create awareness for all these things. Don't keep this private to yourself. Help us share it. Tell your friends. There's a generation of youth out there being forgotten, and caring people like you and me and the people in our studio tonight can't sit still while that happens. So be sure to tune in every Monday at 6 p.m. for our unfiltered look at the child welfare system and other related community services. This is where you come to get the truth, and I promise what you will hear tonight cannot be found on the nightly news. And since we're live, if you want, you can write to us during the show in the comments field on Facebook, or call in if you want to join the conversation. If you have questions for our guests, be a part of the show. Phone number is 609-807-2492. Again, that's 609-807-2492. You know, it's National Mentoring Month. Does everyone know that?
I am aware of that.
National Mentoring Month. That is so cool. And from the Harvard School of Public Health comes the information that there's a powerful mentoring effect demonstrated by research in the experiences of young people who are connected to a mentor in real life. Mentoring is linked to improve academic, social, and economic prospects of people, and that ultimately strengthens our community. Research has shown that when matched through a quality mentoring program, mentors can play a powerful role in providing young people with the tools to make responsible decisions, stay focused, engaged in school, and reduce or avoid risky behavior like skipping school, drug use, and other negative activities. For example, in a national report titled The Mentoring Effect, young people who were at risk for not completing high school but who had a mentor were 55% more likely to be enrolled in a college than those who did not have a mentor. They were also 81% more likely to report participating regularly in sports or extracurricular activities. They were 78% more likely to volunteer regularly in their communities, and more than twice as likely to say they held a leadership position in a club or a sports team. And if you work with mentors, you can like totally see that happening, because one of the things that we try to do, one element that we try to bring from mentoring, from our suburban communities where most of us come from, is we keep our kids busy. One thing that we do, if you live in a suburban community, you have Wednesday night off, you're learning French. You're doing something, right? We always keep them busy. And so you could just see a mentor coming into a child's life, and all of a sudden they're in sports or extracurricular activities. They're doing civic. They're cleaning up the river on Saturdays, And those are such wonderful things that help a child learn and grow and feel like part of a community. I tell people all the time, we spend $250,000 to send a child through the foster care system. That's what it costs. It costs $250,000 to do that. And then we spend another $50,000 a year to incarcerate them after the fact. And it's just such a pointless structure. Now, the same report found that 1 in 3 young people in our country will grow up without a mentor. Today in our community, there are numerous young people who would benefit from having a mentor, and as we focus on engaging more community members in volunteering as mentors, we'll share a simple message that mentoring relationships are basic human connections. They're really not that special. They're just important, They're important human connections that let a young person know that they matter. And mentors frequently report back that their relationships make their mentees feel like someone is there to help them make the right choices in life. Now, this National Mentoring Month is actually, I guess it's kind of a creation of what's called Mentor, M-E-N-T-O-R, which is the National Mentoring Partnership and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. And the National Mentoring Month was launched in 2002, and it's always had the strong support of the President and the United States Congress. Now, 3 dates that you might want to write down. January 17th, 2020 is International Mentoring Day, to celebrate the role of the mentor by asking the world to share their ideas around mentoring and create space for an international conversation. Of course, January 20th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and that's a day of service. Our nation will shine a spotlight on volunteerism and inspire people seeking opportunities to learn more about mentoring. January 30th is Thank Your Mentor Day. Ooh, I like that. Thank Your Mentor Day, when we encourage anyone who has had a mentor to say thank you by sending a note, a card, or sharing a story on social media. And the social media is a hashtag Thank Your Mentor. To learn more about the role mentoring plays in our community and to find volunteer opportunities, visit nationalmentoringmonth.org. It's all one word, nationalmentoringmonth.org. Next, this is a very interesting time in the area where we are, which is Trenton, New Jersey area. With Age Out Angels, we serve on various policy boards regarding child welfare and community betterment. And lots of times, you get on these boards and they're really just talk. It's as though people want to have a meeting more than to actually get anything done. But you know what? Some of these boards are really have serious mandates, and they're coming to a point where conversation is over and it's time to actually get stuff done. So several right now that I'm associated with have these wonderful mandates to move the needle, so to speak, in 2020. And interestingly, each organization focuses on a different piece of the puzzle. Like this year, the Capital City Youth Violence Coalition has received federal funds to organize, has a mandate to make a measurable dent in violent crime among youth in inner city Trenton. And something is supposed to happen this year, which is wonderful. We also have the Homeless Youth Subcommittee, which is committed to finding ways to eliminate homelessness among the city's youth. A little further down the road, the Child Placement Advisory Council has a subgroup working on housing issues for at-risk youth statewide, and that's probably still a year or two away from bearing fruit, but it's moving. It's going to be a very interesting year as we watch the progress on these organizations, and we'll keep you posted as progress is made. We're going to take a quick break. I want you to hit that share button on Facebook. Stay where you are. We'll be back in 1 minute with Jodi Grinwald, David Nash, Mick Orff. Don't go away. Are you ready? And we are back. I want to give a shout out to some people who are listening to the show tonight. Jay Harmelin joined, Sherry Askowitz, Wendy Rolfe, Melvin Ford, Kirsten Grover, William Sanders, Coleman Green, one of my favorite stand-up comics, is listening to the show tonight. Hi, Coleman. Glad to have you, and glad to have you guys in the studio. Let's start with Mercer County Technical Schools. Dave Nash is the person in charge of internships.
It's definitely a great time to be a young emerging adult, whether it's Mercer County Technical Schools or any career and tech ed facility across this nation.
Why is that? Why is it a great time for that?
Well, the paradigm's starting to really shift, and we're seeing this on a very macro level, or a micro level, I should say, and on a macro level, I can only imagine it's transcending across the country, meaning the stigmatization of technical schools. We don't say VOTech anymore. VOTech is jean jackets and mullets, and there's nothing wrong with that. I grew up in that phrase, and in fact, I went to a tech school as a young guy 32 years ago. But we're seeing a different passion unlock within the district, and Mick's been a big part of bringing that out, as well as the staff. And again, this just isn't about Mercer, although we're anchored in Mercer County, and that's my element of expertise. But I can tell you that the type of student that we're seeing, I've been in the district 20 years. I graduated, worked private sector 12 years, was blessed to come back and be a teacher in the classroom I sat in, which was surreal and unbelievable. But during that time, I've just seen just such a switch. And then about 10 years later, I became the career counselor internship coordinator. So to answer the question succinctly and directly, there's a shift in how people perceive the reality of leaving what I call Teenage Island, because it used to be one-dimensional. I call it 1985 thinking, and you and I talked about this. If a person was undeveloped in their understanding of the opportunities that could lead them to adult successful lifestyle, or weaning off their parent fiscally or financially, or emerging as an adult without support, life has that. It used to be a one-trick pony. Go to college, get a liberal arts degree, communications degree, and you know what? It's probably going to work out all right. And a lot of people did that. Other people did military and things like that. But now the cost of that is exceeding $250,000, $200,000. With the real ROI, return on investment, there is, all right, what are you getting if you go into it blindly? If you're super gifted in a particular area and you have a course plotted out, a chart plotted to sail out of the port, go out into the open seas of that post-secondary education, and then bring your ship back home after you cross the ocean, and you have a plan and it works, that's awesome. But it used to be more random, but now it's not.
It used to be a ticket to at least some sort of a decent job when you got out of school.
Correct.
And you might be in your mid-30s by the time you paid off your loans, but at least you'd get something for it.
Yeah,
now
get a corporate job.
Yes.
And you
Sure.
in there somewhere.
Somewhere.
Resources, sales, whatever.
At the very least,
a college degree.
Make a connection somewhere along the way. It's a buddy from college who helped you get a job.
Right.
But now, number one, the cost of that stuff is going higher and higher and higher. And number two, there are no guarantees. You're not necessarily going to get that job. And when you do, it's still an entry-level type of thing. It's not going to pay very well. It's going to take you a long, long time to get out of that debt.
Can I just complain about what sucks about getting a job right now?
Yes.
Because it drives me crazy, because I work with kids and we're trying to get them placed, right? And used to be, within the era that you described, if you wanted a job, if you wanted to work at a company, right, you'd knock on their door, show up in a suit and tie, and say, I'm here, I love this company, I want to work here, I got to find a spot, who can I talk to in HR, you know, to do that, and they would admire your gumption.
Absolutely.
Right? And
Yeah.
at least put you through, you'd get the first interview that way.
This kid's got some chutzpah. He
Yeah,
came right to the front door.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Moxie. But if you do that now, they call the police.
Call the police.
Because now there's like some specific actual set of skills that you have to have. Or I don't know where you grew up or where you live or what kind of car. Anyway, and if you don't pass the internet application to exactly, you know, what they're looking for, you don't even get a look.
And that application is, there are thousands of people now, thanks to the internet, filling out that same application.
Yeah,
how do you
right, thousands,
how do you
yeah.
differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack?
That's right.
And so I'm glad you said this. So what we teach in the four walls of Mercer County Technical Schools, and like I said, probably others, is job stands for just over broke, and careers and jobs
Yeah.
are two totally different things.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you want to do a fun sociological experiment. Ask somebody who has a young, either a family friend, a child, a coworker's friend, whatever. Age 12 to 14, that's pretty much post-World War II, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the initial part of the decade that just passed, or 2 decades ago. When did you start to work? Camp counselor, working as a lifeguard, etc. The answer would be 12 to 14, because I've done the math and studies.
Yeah.
Well, do yourself a favor now. People 16, they don't work. They have a $1,500 phone and $400 sneakers. But where's that revenue coming from? Either that revenue is being earned in unjust ways, which for a small portion of society might be accurate, but you have a massive enabling problem going on. And that's what we seek to transcend and elevate our guys and girls when they come to our school.
So important.
Well, I ask them, I go, where do you learn how to work? Well, the answer's in the question. Work. And not work pointless, meaningless labor, chipping rocks into little pebbles. Learning how to show up on time and talk to somebody. But you're absolutely right. A career position wants somebody that has that skill set initially, but yet you have these widgets falling off the assembly line that aren't doing the trial, the minor leagues position. And we're not out to have every kid work an 80-hour work week or 40-hour work week. But look, if there's something to be said for showing up on time, looking someone in the eye, forming a sentence without saying like unnecessarily 1,000 times, and chances are you're going to do really well. So
Being able to function without your phone for
yes,
an hour.
we're a non-phone school. Dun dun dun. And this isn't us. Our instructional staff came up to us 5 years ago and said, this is an epidemic, it's out of control. Guys and girls cannot absorb the information for the career area of study that they're in. Not every person that enters an architectural engineering and design MCTS program or career and tech ed program is going to be an engineer or an architect. But in that room, you have to absorb the information without being distracted by your Snapchat or your IG. So it's just simple boundaries. And these are all things that we're working in, and we're seeing other CTE schools work into their curriculum. Notice how I didn't say VOTech once. There's nothing wrong with vocational training or VOTech. The only problem is if the mind isn't elevated to see the reality of what it is now, then you're stunted and you're stigmatized. So, here's the good part. The good part is, it is a great time to be a person that's passionate. And once you discover that passion, we always say it's 3 things, right, Mick? What are you good at naturally? What do you love to do so much you could do it for free? And what's the market going to pay you for? We live in a free market society. Quality drives your worth and your price and your proficiency. That's a great time to be a part of that. And so what we love to do is get guys and girls that, hey, I think I might be interested in culinary arts or hospitality. Well, we'll funnel them through all different types of scenarios to see what they unlock. If I'm interested in building construction, it used to be so one-dimensional. You will be a carpenter. Well, no. Now look at how beautiful buildings are. So.
And it's about options and about career pathways as well.
Totally.
I'm so glad that I grew up when I did. It's
Yeah.
tough.
In a lot
It's
of
tough
ways,
growing
we
up
had it
now.
easier.
And when I grew up, we had a music program in our schools.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. So Jodi,
Yes.
I refer to your company as Applaud Our Kids.
It's the Zach G Applaud.
Zach G. How do you spell that?
That's
Zach
with 2 Z's, actually.
ZZ.
ZZAK. My dad was an artist.
Zach
so,
G.
Yep. So that he spelled
So
it with 2 Z's.
It's Zach G. Applaud Our Kids.
Yes.
And so Zach G is your dad.
Yes.
Okay. And so this we're going to learn the story of how this organization was birthed.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. So my sister and I started the Zach G. Applaud Kids Foundation 3 years ago in honor of our dad. He was an operatic tenor, but he didn't find that out until he was in his mid-30s. And he couldn't afford to take lessons in the arts. He came over with his twin sister when he was 4 years old in 1946, 1950. And he was...
From where?
From Italy.
Okay.
And so when he came in, they were really struggling financially. And as he got older, he had a love for singing, but he couldn't afford it. So when he wound up, unfortunately, in 2015 getting sick with ALS. And he really didn't have a lot of time to work on his skills as an operatic tenor. He had a family. And when he was just about now old enough to say, you know what, I'm older and I don't have all of this responsibility anymore. I'm going to go and I'm going to take lessons. And he started writing, too. He wound up getting ALS. And within 6 months, he passed away. But unfortunately, when he was very ill, and he said his biggest regret in life was the fact that he could not express himself as much as he wanted to. The feeling that he would get every time he would take the stage and every time he would go for a vocal lesson was a feeling he couldn't get anywhere else. And so his biggest regret in life was that he couldn't connect to the arts. So my sister and I talked about what we wanted to do in his honor, and we really had no idea where we were going until we started to think about the kids that are probably in that same exact predicament, who want to take lessons in dance and acting and singing and instrumental music, but unfortunately just cannot afford them. And for some, we know that without that connection, it can lead to them getting into doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So we fund the children who meet the financial needs requirements. If you think of NJ SNAP, we pretty much fund those children who are getting free and reduced lunch. The difference about our organization is that if the child meets the criteria, we place them into a studio close to their home, just like their friends who can afford. They're in the exact same classes. We provide the funding to the studio directly, not to the child or the family. And then what happens is they go for the entire school year. We pay for the instrument if they need one, the dance shoes, the recital costume. They get to take one class. It's not multiple classes. But we just launched a new program because there's areas in the state that cannot afford to even have a vehicle. People can't afford to even have a vehicle. So they can't drive them to these lessons.
Oh, transportation is one of the biggest issues we face.
Huge. So what we do now is we have a community outreach program. We're starting for the very first time actually tomorrow. So we're really excited. We are going to be sending a teacher to the Boys and Girls Club at Asbury Park. And they will be, she'll be going there every single week from now until June. And she'll teach them for an hour. And we'll probably have 15 to 20 kids in that class. So we'll be able to even get more of the masses involved and get connecting more kids with the performing arts. One piece I do want to mention is we also have a performance group. It's an audition-only performance group. These kids fund themselves. But what we want to teach kids is the importance of community service and giving back. Because sometimes if you don't start it at a young age, you never find the time to start it. So with my nonprofit background, I felt that was really important, and so did my sister. So these children, they perform all over the place, and they also help to fundraise for their peers. So we say we're a Kids Helping Kids organization. So we're teaching them to give back every time they perform, and they're doing something that they love at the same time. So actually, they have performed in New York City at the Feinstein's 54 Below. They've just been invited, this group, to perform at the Gershwin Theater, which is where Wicked is held. So they've done amazing things. They're super talented. And we actually introduce them to the scholarship recipients, and you would never tell in the room who the recipients are and who are the kids that are funding themselves. You would never see the difference. They treat these kids as if they're part of the family, and that's what we always want. Nobody is different just because of your financial, requirements that you have or your financial challenges. One of the things we believe is that creativity should not be blocked by financial barriers. So, yeah.
So one of the things that I like to do is talk a little bit more about how you really structured it, because there are people who are out there listening in different parts of the country, and they may want to start something similar, to this. And wouldn't that be wonderful, to do? So you were hanging with your sister and thinking what you could do to honor your dad, and so how did you get your first? Tell me the story of your first. What would you call it? Installation? Your first?
I think, just to tell you a little bit, the actual organization was started with $100 that was left in my father's wallet. He had $100 left. And when I called the bank, I asked, how much do I need to open a nonprofit account? And they said $100. And that's exactly where the money came from. After that, we launched a crowd rise. And we just put it out there. I mean, you talk about grassroots. This was totally grassroots from two people who never thought they could have, I've always worked at nonprofit, but I never knew how to start a nonprofit, which is very, very different. And so, we put it out there, and I started talking to everybody. And, it was so important what you were just talking about mentorship. Yeah. And the thing about that is that's what I looked for. Exactly. At my age, I looked for mentors of people who were doing not exactly what we're doing, because we're doing it very different than what's out there, but people who I knew and I trusted, and I saw how they grew their organizations, and they would meet with me without a problem. You need to find people that know more than you, because we don't know everything. And I'm learning every single day. No matter what we do, we learn something new. So I met with people that I even asked people to be my mentors at this age. And they were, I'm listening to the dates that you just gave me, and I now need to remember to send out a card to those people, because I think that's so important no matter what age. But then we started asking for sponsorship. We had events. We had our launch of the organization, and we had a concert. So we had sponsors of that concert, and they were small. At first we had gotten $500, $250. I mean, you could have seen us. We were dancing in the middle of our kitchen when the first sponsorship came, or when the first couple of dollars came in through CrowdRise. And now we've touched over 60 kids' lives. We have over 20 studios that are connected to us. We've been on TV locally. We've been on radio. We're here with you. And we just continue to grow our exposure. And exponentially over the last 3 years, I can't believe, kind of where we've been and what we're doing, and growing our programming. Now, community outreach program, that was never on our list. But we knew we have. The other thing about it is follow where the organization takes you, because we're going to place each child and make them feel like they're not in that underserved population, and we're going to connect them. But in this case, if you cannot travel, the only other way to connect you is to send the teacher out, but we actually get to help the masses that way. But the thing is, anybody who's listening who has a child that is in need of that, we're here for them. And they can go to our website, which is applaudourkids.org, and they can send us an email. You get our email address on there, and send us an email, and it's an application process. If you meet the financial needs requirements, you're placed at a school close to you. We started in Ocean County. Then we moved to Monmouth. We have a child here in Hamilton. We just got a request from someone up in Essex County.
This is a one at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
It is. And it's very special to each child, because we make sure that every studio that they go to, that we interview every owner. We take a tour of every studio. We make sure that their culture is exactly. Imagine a 13-year-old child who's living in a very challenging environment. Maybe a parent died of an overdose, or there's a bad divorce situation. These are the types of kids that we have in our program. And now you're taking a 13-year-old kid. Being 13 is tough. Imagine trying to place them into a dance studio with students who have been together since they're 3. You have to make sure that they're going to welcome them and treat them like they're one of their families. So when we do our interview process, the studios have to meet that very specific criteria, that they're going to do icebreaker exercises and include them. And then at the end of the year, this year it'll be, looks like May 3rd, we actually have a scholarship showcase. We bring all of our recipients together and our performance group, and they perform what they learned with their entire class in front of our donors, the community. That way people can see where their real dollars are going. You can follow the dollar in our organization.
Okay, so let's say hypothetically now,
Yes.
Lucy and Mawa, I just made that up. Lucy and Mawa.
Yes.
Lucy's mother says Lucy wants to learn the cello.
Yes.
Okay. Lucy doesn't really know if she wants to learn the cello, but her mother knows.
Yes.
Okay. The mother fills out an application and sends it to you. And what happens when you get that application? Like, do you have to try to make a determination if the kid is really interested in this instrument, or the mom is just looking for something?
Usually,
because I assume you're hoping that there will be follow through.
Yes, but honestly, we've had kids that'll try something. We have 2 kids. They're a brother and sister. The brother started out with keyboard, and the sister started out with vocals. And what happened is they were like, we really don't want to continue to. They finished the school year, and they're like, they can come back to us 3, 4, 5 years if they still meet the financial needs requirements. We will continue with them. So the one who was the singer wanted to now do dance, and the one who was playing the keyboard wanted to now sing. So we switched it.
Okay.
Yeah, and for us, people have asked us, well, do you audition them to see? No, we're not looking for the next American Idol. We're just looking at make sure that they can find a connection, because for some of these kids, it's an extended family. It's a constant they do not have. It's an escape. So it's important that we provide that connection for them every week.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's still time to hit that share button, everyone. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be back with a whole lot more show in 1 minute with Jodi Grinwald, David Nash, and Mick Orff. Hit the share button and don't go away. And now the music starts.
There you go. And it's in. That's really amazing. We're looking at the court-appointed advocates, right? And Hope Sheds Light.
And we're back. Before we go further, I do need to thank all the people who made donations to Age Out Angels this week. We thank you so much for your generosity. If you have an employee giving fund or matching gifts foundation associated with your place of work, we would certainly appreciate your contacting us and telling us how we can participate in that. Private message me on Facebook or email to greg@ageoutangels.org. And I want to remind everyone that you can donate to Age Out Angels every time you make a purchase from Amazon. All you have to do is designate Age Out Angels to be your Amazon Smile designee, and a portion of your payment will go to Age Out Angels without it costing you 1 penny more. I can make it easy for you to designate Age Out Angels as your Amazon Smile recipient. All you have to do is contact me either via Facebook or directly at greg@ageoutangels.org, and I can send you a link that will take you directly to our designation. If you just joined us, my guests are Jodi Grinwald, David Nash, and Mick Orff. Went with the formal Michael.
Michael is fine too. That is the.
But
the
you
given
answered
name.
it both, I presume.
Exactly.
Right. So, all right. So, Mike. Now I'm all confused. Mick and Dave, where's the money? Here's what I want to know. I'm seeing children all the time who graduate high school, not from MCTS.
Sure.
I mean from the local
Yeah.
area high schools, especially the urban ones. And their actual grade level is in reading and math is more like somewhere between 3rd and 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the skills to get into the military. They can't pass the
Okay.
basic test to get into the military. Some of them have those grade levels and they get A's and B's. They're on the honor roll and stuff like that. So the world's gone crazy is basically what I'm saying here. And actually, I had someone tell me the other day that there are certain standards that a child has to have to graduate high school in New Jersey. And if they don't meet those standards, we'll lower the standards so that they could still graduate. And actually, the words that I heard were, or no one would graduate. Okay? So
I would love to debate that person. That's
that as the backdrop. With that as the backdrop, if a person were to go to career training, instead of, well, I guess basically nothing. You assume you're college prep when you're not getting career training.
If you don't mind, that is a bit of a misconception now, and that's left over from the times
What's the
of
misconception?
that you either must choose college or career training, and the truth is you can certainly have both. 65% of the graduates of our share time programs do go on to college. The ones who don't are ready to work. They're ready to. They're not.
And that's not a job. We're talking career. Mm-hmm. Massive difference.
They're not taking a minimum wage job.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So, but I would think that after high school, though, you're now 18, right? You don't just step right into $40,000-$50,000 a year.
We have
Don't
kids.
you have to apprentice and things like that?
Certain positions like a carpenter or an electrician, you do have to go through an apprenticeship period for which we would prepare you. But you finish our program as a diesel mechanic or a HVAC technician, like a certified refrigerant handler, a cosmetologist. You finish with your license. All of these programs, you can walk right into the workforce and make the kind of money that you're talking about, or more.
I'll give you an example. 3 to 5 years ago, we had a student. Amazon was just opening 2 fulfillment centers and assortment center in Robbinsville. His mother was a single-parent home. Mother was very driven that education's number one thing, which is great. We see that. There's a lot of families that are passionate and would not allow her son to get a license nor go on the work program. He was in the automotive technology program. And he was able to secure a job at Amazon just by showing up, listening, and executing. And we teach this. Executing is 5 things. Generating revenue some way, some form. Exceeding customer expectation. Working with integrity. Doing the right thing when no one's looking. I debunk integrity to kids because I know I didn't know what integrity was when I was 16, 17. So do the right thing when nobody's looking. Be teachable. You guys just said it so well. You got to be teachable in order to learn. And the last one is care. If those 5 kernels are in a human being in today's job market, you are on the path to upward mobility. Now, you have to show up every day. You can't do the I'm on for 3, off for 2, on for 2, on for 3. You can't. That's a hurdle that we transcend. But I'm here to tell you, in this job market, and my phone does not, we talk all day long. My phone and emails do not stop ringing. The networking opportunities for a person who's passionate about what they want, and you do not have to have a 4.0 or be academically gifted. I don't ever say anybody is smart. Intelligence is measured in a lot of different ways. And we were once one-dimensional and thinking, well, if somebody has academic intelligence, well, then that's certainly the best way to go. In this day and age, it's almost like a purifier. People that have interest and passion and a drive to exceed the others around them and expectations and put forth the effort to be passionate in the work environment. Mind you, it needs to be well managed. It's not all puppy dogs and rainbows. I'm not saying that. But the reality is in this day and age, that individual, to summarize and collect it all into one simple, concise answer, the individual got a job at Amazon because that's what he could do. They recognized his talent. They saw that he had training in automotive background. He got pulled into the robot division that works on the robots.
How about that?
And all of a sudden, he unlocked, I hate to steal our catchphrase, but I will, Mick.
Yeah.
He unlocked his passion and developed his future, started from assortment package sorter to electronic repairman for the robots. He's now running a team of people. He came back in. He stopped in 5 years ago. Hey, I'm buying my first house. I can't thank you enough. I said, do not thank me. I love helping unlock people. Look in the mirror and thank yourself. That's what I say to every kid.
And back to your original point and what you were discussing before about people working, students having jobs and things like that. Even just a little bit like that, even a simple job when you're 14 or 15 or 16 of bagging groceries or something like that, you're going to learn soft skills that you will have for the rest of your life. Yeah. And a lot of young people don't have them.
I think that's critical.
That's the deficit.
That 16-year-old summer job where you learn how to be on time.
Yes.
Right? You learn how to be clean.
Yes.
You do things you don't want to do.
And right, you do whatever you're told, and you learn how to talk to people.
But here's the cool thing.
Know?
That starts when they're 14. It doesn't start when they're 16.
Okay.
You can work in the state of New Jersey at age 12. You can work at a simple retail place at 14. There's a common misconception that people go to large corporate facilities and they'll only hire 16 and older or 18 and older. Well, that's if the facility has a store in every state. If you go to a local restaurant, a grocery store, a small mom and pop, a painter, you can work legally with working papers. I'm the issuing officer for the district.
And those places, you don't necessarily have to compete with the thousands of job applicants online. That kind of place, maybe you still can walk in and show a little moxie, to use your word, Greg. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And answer that help wanted sign that's in the window. They still exist.
They still have that.
Here, I'll end it with this because we have so much more to talk about. So when we work with guys and girls that are freshmen, that 14, 8th grade last year, I say to them, think about what you want, where you want to be, and how you want to obtain a little bit of revenue.
Studio's falling apart as you're speaking.
We're dropping so much knowledge.
That was actually
falling apart.
Probably not built by a graduate of Mercer County Technical Schools, I guess.
Thunder's vocal range.
The reality is we tell guys and girls to apply, and you can work at McDonald's at age 14. And McDonald's is great. And a lot of young kids are like, I'm not working there. Time out. You learn teamwork, how to work in different departments. I call it the hummingbird theory. They move you all around and teach you all these different jobs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're like, dude, I'm over this. The heck with this. Now you can walk into somewhere else at 15, 16, 17, 18 and say, hey, I was part of a team. You can talk to my manager. And it's not that you're destined for fast food. Here's the crazy thing. If you look at generations coming up through the 80s, 90s, and the past decades, that was almost, you can't do that. Now you're such a commodity with these soft skills. The soft skills are the deficit. The academic intelligence is hardwired into these kids depending on the district, and I'm with you. There are districts dropping the ball, and that breaks my heart, what your lead-in was. But if a person can plug in at age 14 and learn and be mentored about the cultural norms and expectations on how to execute, that's how we do it.
Absolutely.
Do you mind if I plug website real quick?
Depends on the website.
Our website, Mercer County
fine.
Technical Schools. Yes.
That's okay. I thought maybe you were selling T-shirts on the side.
No, nothing personal or anything like that. mcts.edu.
Yes.
There's a little link to apply now if you're a resident of Mercer County. These are free public school options for all students that live within Mercer County.
If a child graduates high school, flounders for a year or something like that, decides they want to go back and get that education, is that something that they can do at night at MCTS, and does it cost money?
You bet. We have an adult evening school. Same website, same application process. You create an account. It takes less than 5 minutes. It is not free, but if you have that moxie to go work for some kind of a company, let's say a construction company or a carpenter, an electrical outfit,
A facility,
of
even
any
a
kind of
large
a facility, they love that. You can be sponsored to take those classes. They'll get you hooked up with an apprenticeship, and you can be a member of a union at the end of a short period of time. It's usually a couple nights a week, and the cost is not astronomical by any means.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's really, really wonderful. Now, so Jodi, you're looking at different schools all across the state of New Jersey, or
We're pretty centered at like Monmouth, Ocean. We have Hamilton. Now we have Essex. It's kind of, we're going where the need is. So when people find us, we're looking for where we can place them.
So when someone goes into the Boys and Girls Club to teach music, right?
Yes.
Are they teaching individual lessons, group lessons, different instruments? How are they making a band?
No, for that we actually surveyed the Boys and Girls Club in Asbury, and they wanted acting lessons. So 60 of the kids chose acting lessons. So they're going to break it up into groups of 15. But so that it was not what I thought was going to be chosen. So it was pretty exciting to see that. So we have an acting teacher going in to do that with them.
Easier to do as a group.
Easier to do. It's great.
It's actually better as a group, so that you actually get response and
Absolutely.
stuff like that. But what about like music lessons? Am I misusing the word private instrumental lessons?
No, not at all. So for those instrumental music lessons, they are one-on-one, and they have a half hour or 45 minutes with a teacher in that studio. Dance is a group. So that's
Right.
that's an entire group of kids, and it's great because then the entire group comes out and performs at the showcase, and it gives them another opportunity to get their costumes on and have a great time with their friends.
So you would buy an instrument.
Yeah. We will find an instrument.
Okay.
So actually, it's funny you say this because tomorrow.
Well put.
Yeah, I have come home to blue violin on my porch. Tomorrow, I'm picking up. Someone is dropping something off to me. It's a keyboard. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, we just get phone calls. I have a trombone. I have a trumpet. It's unbelievable. There's an organization in New York, Donate to Dance, it's called. They found us. They were on the Today Show and in People Magazine, and they found us and reached out to us and said, we'd like to donate 60 pairs of brand new Capezio shoes. We spoke to Capezio. We found out what you're doing, and we want to make sure that your kids can have new shoes. So that was just blown away, totally blown away.
Yeah, well, in dance, there's the costumes.
Oh.
The dance. Wow.
Well, one recital costume.
I know that wasn't very articulate, but I think you all know what I meant.
Yes.
I have a daughter that dances. Yes, it is. Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
But the thing is we will only pay what the studio pays, and all of them agree to that. So, unfortunately, sometimes those costumes are, they have to get bumped up because of the fact that the studios are working hard. For us, it's, we won't pay anything over that because we can't, and when we have so many kids that need that costume. Dance is one of our most popular to be honest with you, acting, that's why I said acting, we never expected it. It's our least popular in everything else that we're doing. So it's exciting to have a big group of actors now coming out of what we're doing with them.
So when you have a performance group, how do you put that together? Like,
So-
and what is it?
So our performance group is made up of kids that are ages 7 to 22, and they audition. So this group right now, none of them are in our program where we're scholarshiping them. But if there's someone that's ready, we'll move them if they audition, and we'll move them into that spot. But our goal was to say, you know what, we have this pillar, and we call the pillar for scholarship recipients our creativity pillar. But then we were saying, well, there's all these kids that want the opportunity to perform out there, and what if we created something where when they perform, they're actually giving back, and they're doing something they love, but we're teaching them the importance of helping their peers. So that we created that pillar, and that's our kindness pillar. And then our community outreach program is our connection pillar. So we have those 3 pillars. The performance group, I get calls all the time for them to go out and perform. They're performing for the Ashley Lauren Foundation. They perform for lots of other nonprofits.
What do they do? Like, how many people
Vocalists.
are in it? Or
We're just accepted 2 new people yesterday. Actually, we have 23 kids that are part of it, kids and young adults, because they go all the way up to 20 years old right now, and they go out and they sing. And they kind of move also with that, but they have sang at the Count Basie Theater, and they just go out and they perform all
they sing
over.
a cappella?
They sing with backtracks, and we
okay.
have everything from an opera singer to country to Broadway, where they cover the gamut. My daughter actually is an opera singer herself, like my father, so she took the gene. All of his grandkids did, but she actually helps to run. She's 18, and she actually helps to run the group right now. But when she goes off to college, we'll be hiring somebody. We've been using her for free, which has been awesome. But now it's time to hire somebody to put somebody in her place.
Well, this is like got to be a full-time job for you.
It's one of my 2. Yes, I have 2 full-time jobs. This is one of them.
Wow.
Yes.
What's the other one?
The other one is I am a business relations representative for the NJBIA, the New Jersey Business and Industry
New
Association.
Jersey Business and Industry Association.
Absolutely.
Do they have nonprofits in there?
Absolutely.
In their fold? Like, is your company, is your nonprofit also affiliated with the company for which you work?
Right. So
guess.
the interesting part of it is I've been a member of the NJBIA from other organizations that I was a part of, and our foundation was a member and has been a member of the NJBIA. And so I'm in a unique place because I get to be on the side of the table that I can share all that it's done for me to a potential member. And I can also understand why budgets are tight and it might be hard to join. So we work with the members, and I'm starting a statewide nonprofit council. We all, our organization is, and I'm going to be leading it for the organization with our amazing CEO, Michelle Sakirka. She's awesome, and Betty Boros, who I work directly for. And so we want the nonprofits in the state to really understand that we're listening, and we want to help them connect to the for-profits. And obviously I can speak, personally, and knowing how difficult that can be sometimes.
You bet. Yeah. So what can people do if they want to donate to your organization?
So if they want to donate to our organization, the best thing to do is to go to, we have a CrowdRise page, so you can find us on CrowdRise, and it's under Zach G. Applaud Our Kids.
It's under ZZ.
ZZAK.
ZZAKG.
Applaud Our Kids.
Yeah.
But really, truly, the best way to do that is just go to our Facebook page, because if you're on Facebook, you can comment on our performance group. The performances are on there. Our website's on there, and you can donate straight to that. And that's it's just Applaud Our Kids, and Instagram is Applaud Our Kids as well.
And I'd like to applaud the people who are listening to the show tonight too. I noticed that Regina Thompson Jenkins joined us, Gary Pearsall, Mark Vanderhoof, Frank Doknow, Melvin Ford, Barbara Van Loo, Lynn Tonini. Lynn, we haven't communicated in ages. I'm so glad that you're listening to the show tonight. Guys, we got a minute and a half. What do you want everyone to know about Mercer County Technical Schools?
A couple of great things. We have an Instagram account, a Facebook page. We have a podcast. And we do not want to steal any listeners from the Age Out Angels radio hour.
It's cool. We're secure. It's all right.
But
Then check us out.
Check us out. We're available on. It's called the MCTS Experience. It's on Google Play, Spotify, and iTunes. And we have our own YouTube channel with videos made by the students.
Really cool.
Lots of great stuff happening. The pendulum, as Dave said at the very beginning, is really starting to swing towards technical education, career technical education. And
It's
great.
amazing sometimes how much you can learn from a young person.
Yes.
About, careers that you had no idea even existed.
This is true.
That didn't 10 years ago.
There's just a drought. The drought. So the surplus that once existed is drying up, and it's really the simplest economic supply and demand component that we know. There was a gluttony of people with the skill set and trade, and now it doesn't exist, and we're an oasis that's there to help provide it as well as any other CTE
Yeah,
school.
it's actually really required. It's not something you can farm out necessarily.
No.
and,
You cannot.
yeah.
And we're hearing that more and more. You hear people all the time say, "Oh, we need more technical schools. We need more technical training." But it's a reality now. There are less and less people with those skills, and we need them.
We need more.
Absolutely.
We need more kids. The parents. We need more
hear you.
kids.
I hear you. Hopefully we'll help you get a few.
Great.
We look forward to that. So we're going to take another short break, and I'll be back in 1 minute with some final words. Actually, I have a great story, so don't go away, okay? Back in 1 minute.
I'm going to share your
Excellent.
foundation with. Greg, anything else on?
And we are back. We're not going to be live for about 4 weeks now. Next week is Martin Luther King Day, so we're not going to have a live show then, and then I'm going to be away for 3 weeks. So it's really going to be 4 weeks that, Ruben's going to find the best shows from the past and rerun them. And if you've missed them, there have been some pretty amazing shows. So I hope you'll be tuning in. But the point is that I'm not going to see you for 4 weeks live, and I thought I would leave you with something that's just a little on the positive side, because we have so much doom and gloom sometime on this show. And this was just a piece written by a lady named Whitney Cummings called "When Your Foster Child Becomes Your Kid." And she writes, "I did not birth my foster daughter. I have not spent the last 10 years with my foster daughter. I don't know what she looked like as a baby. I don't know her medical history or her aunts and uncles' names or her blood type. I have no idea what her first words were. But you know what I do know about her? I know which shade of blue she likes. I know who her boyfriend is and why she likes him. I know that her best friend hurt her feelings yesterday and that she's scared of growing up to be a failure. I know she can't sleep without a nightlight. I know she can sense my mood just by standing near me. I know she likes pepperoni pizza, but not from Little Caesars." Just killed any chance I ever had of getting Little Caesars to
No
advertise on
sponsorship
this
from
show.
them, sorry.
Yeah. Thanks, Whitney. I know so many things about her day-to-day life, but most of all, I know her heart. I learn more about her each day that goes by, yet I feel like somehow our hearts are already connected on this string that pulls each of us when the other is upset. About a month ago, 3 months after bringing her into our home, something shifted, and she stopped feeling like a foster daughter. She just became my daughter. I know that she's not biologically mine, and I know that she still plans to reunify with her birth mother. I'm in full support of that happening so long as her birth mom reaches healthiness. But I believe with all my heart that I've been given the gift of being a second mom to her while she's here. She doesn't see me as her foster mom any more than I see her as my foster daughter. I'm just her mom. She's just my kid. Not a fill-in, but an add-on. Feels like the transition a child feels when a step-parent at a young age. For a while, they're a step-parent and things feel out of place, but then something changes, and gradually, without anyone noticing, and all of a sudden, they're just your parent, an add-on parent. Kids with divorced parents say all the time, "I've got 2 dads," or "My mom at this house takes me to soccer, but my mom at the other house takes me to basketball." Little statements like that show the world how kids really feel about their extra parent. This girl loves her mama, but it's okay for her to love me too. It's healthy. It gives her an opportunity to see what the relationship between a mother and daughter should look like when it's healthy, which she'll be able to hopefully implement when she goes home. She may not be mine, in quotes, but she has my heart in a way that can't be defined on paper. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another hour talking about youth who should matter more in our political and economic discourse than they do. And we thank you so much for tuning in and maybe helping us spread the word. Again, we offer humble thanks to Hamilton Radio, to my most excellent guest, Jodi Grinwald. I just love what you're doing, and I hope you'll come back and report on your progress from time to time. And Dave Nash and Mick Orff, I hope you guys will come back too and keep us surprised. I would love you to bring some people back, like some students.
That's a great
if you
idea.
We could fill this up.
If
We'll
you
get
could
some
do
kids
that.
in here that are real success
Excellent,
stories too.
excellent, yeah. So can we make a date to meet back here in 4 weeks? I'm talking to the people out there now.
Sure.
But please listen to the show in my absence. I'll see you in 4 weeks. Put it on your calendars. Thanks to our engineer, Ruben. Music provided by Angel Fire. Our webmaster is Carmen Garcia Valera. Our social media specialist is Bailey Braverman. I'll miss you all for a month, but let's make the next month the best month ever. Good night, everyone.
That's a great idea, coming back with some kids.
Yeah, come back with some kids. Let's find out what they do, how much money they play.